legends of the game, including their personal journeys and how they use their platforms to better our communities?
Definitely. It's the heart of sports. Catch Jason, Jeff, and all our guests every Friday here on WWDB from 4 to 5 p.m.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the U.S., 19 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you're someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com, home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life, MatchingDonors.com.
WWDB Philadelphia, 860 AM.
The opinions and statements expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WWDB, its staff, or management.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you?
Good morning, everybody. And what you talking about, Philadelphia? Wake the neighbors, phone your friends, call your mama. Your weekly gift of infotainment is here. Yes, I'm talking about Find It in Fishtown Live on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Mark Colazzo with the itchy to my scratchy, Kay Anderson. Kay, good morning to you.
Good morning. How you doing, Mark?
You know what? I just came back from visiting our Florida correspondent, my mom. I'm looking forward to actually taking a vacation from that, because if you go to Florida to visit your parents or relatives and you're surrounded by older people, you often have to say this after you say something. What? Because they can't hear you. So if I'm talking at a louder decibel, it's because of that. But we're thrilled to have everybody on this beautiful Wednesday morning here on Find It in Fishtown Live, brought to you by the fabulous Fishtown District for the best in eating, dining, walking, moving, breathing. You can find it in Fishtown. And Kay, is there a place where if we wanted to find out all the great things happening in the Fishtown District, we can?
FishtownDistrict.com.
That is so convenient. God bless us for putting that together. But you know what? You could actually see our lovely faces today as we broadcast this by live streaming it. And Kay, where can people do that?
They can go to our Facebook page at Fishtown District or catch the live stream later on today on our YouTube Fishtown District.
We do this with no rehearsal and, of course, no nets. And, of course, today we're going to be joined by a special guest, a talented guest, Brandon Leake. Many of you may have seen this spoken word poet, educator, motivational speaker, as he was the winner of the 15th season of America's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. Matt was all over himself, excited, swooning.
Yeah,
Matt,
this guy's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
He has a way with words, which is obviously one of the reasons he won.
And you could see why he and I would get along very well, as I also have been known to have a way with words. None of them rhyme. None of them rhyme. I've never been paid to actually do it. But looking forward to having Brandon on shortly, as Brandon is performing at the fabulous Punchline Philly in Fishtown tonight. Tickets are going fast, but still available.
I was going to say, are they sold out yet?
I don't know. Brandon will probably tell us, but I'm going to give Punchline a little plug anyway at punchlinephilly.com. Check them out to get your tickets. But, Kay, I can only tell you that our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end. No, I'm not talking about the Flyer season. Of course, I'm talking about COVID-19 is going to be a thing of the past.
Coronavirus! Yeah, I mean, when I saw the announcement yesterday, I gotta say, I was completely floored.
You were weeping. I actually got a text from you saying, I've run out of tissue. Mm-hmm. I'm actually, and you know what? It's nice that you could share your vulnerability with me. I can't even say that word. 3 syllables are too much, everybody. But you know, it's funny because as much as we've been talking about it and we've lived it for our businesses, and we knew it hours before it was going to be announced, it was still kind of hit you like this is actually going to happen, that there's going to be no restrictions come June 11th.
But it really, to me, it felt kind of like a college graduation. Like, you want to celebrate, but at the same time, you're like, oh my God, what's next? I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And that's where I'm at today. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still in the, oh my God.
Because all of the things that we were afraid to plan and do because, God forbid you walk outdoors, I stood too close to you. Last week I think I told you for the first time I was getting on the elevator here at the fabulous WWDB studios in Ballyconwood. And a nice woman was standing there and the door opened and I said, after you. And she was quite adamant that she was going to ride this elevator by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one can either take that was COVID or me. You can make your own conclusions. But it's going to be nice. I'm very curious to see, because we always use, quote, Councilman Mark Squilla, that Mark said once things open up, it's going to be like the roaring 20s. And by the way, everybody, if you're going to get out, there's no better place than
The Fishtown District.
Please go. Please go. And to find out more, hope you're going to join me now as we take a wonderful walk to the mythical world that we call Kay's Corner. See, what happens is when Matt is distracted, we don't get to Kay's Corner music. So, Kay, why don't we lead right in to Kay's Corner? Dun, 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 dun.
Honestly, Mark's music might be even better than the Kay's intro. So today in Kay's Corner, we do have quite a few things coming up. Hopefully the last of some of our virtual events are on the horizon. So if you haven't already gotten your tickets for our next SIPs for Students event, that is coming up on May 20th. So please, 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 please find the Eventbrite, grab your tickets. Make sure that you go to Evil Genius next week to pick up your cheese and beer.
Yes. I'm very excited about this one.
Me too. And I'm thinking I'm going to have a couple of folks over and maybe play it how Vanessa played her wine tasting, because it looked like she was having so much more fun than me.
Yes. I think Vanessa always has more fun than us, no matter where she is.
That might be true. But for this Sips for Students, I am very excited. Again, that's Evil Genius. We've already tasted their beer on our radio show, so you know it's going to be great and exciting.
Okay.
Get in my belly.
Exactly.
It is magically delicious, and I'm looking forward to having that. That is the breakfast beer of champions, infused with, of course, Lucky Charms. So it's going to be a great time. It supports a local business, and it gives a profile to one of our fine educational partners in the district that's called the Liguori Academy. I actually may have a sip or two for those students. So you want to be part of it just to see that.
Absolutely. And then also on the 22nd of May, Fishtown is having a neighborhood-wide sidewalk sale. So if you are a resident of Fishtown and you have some stuff laying around your house, maybe you did some pandemic cleaning and got to get rid of some stuff, maybe you gained the pandemic 15, I'm not going to ask, I'm not going to judge either way. If you got some stuff to get rid of, you can sign up on the map through Fishtown Neighbors Association. And, come on out and sell your stuff on Saturday, May 22nd.
You know what? It's a great way to get people outside. When it is beautiful outside, there's nothing better than walking around our commercial corridor and to be able to just... I always joke because I never understood why I'd want to buy something that you would want to throw away. But what you find at these things is people have things from years and years. And you never know. You might get a lamp. You might get a stuffed animal. You might get a shirt that someone wore 50 times.
But that's
don't know.
That's what's shocking to me, Mark. Like, you kind of, seem like you might have frequented a thrift store here and there for some new threads. So I'm a little surprised.
New threads. I want this to be the first time these clothes touch a human.
Oh.
I don't buy it. It's not like when you're little. I have an older brother that I got my older brother's clothes, which was like 3 years behind the style. By the way, no one rocked the corduroys like I did when I was a little boy. So Vicky would testify to that if she was up and calling.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
But I'm sorry, back to the corner.
No, I mean, that was basically it for the corner.
But
I do have Kay's track of the week.
by the way,
K-Trap. 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 K-Trap of the week.
I love that.
Which I gotta say, I told Matt on my way in, I was very torn this week as far as what my track was gonna be.
Know why?
So, if anybody knows me, they know I love hip hop. And I've had 2 tracks so far, and they weren't hip hop. And I did that intentionally. I was like, all right, let me do something different. Let me make sure that people know this is going to be all genres. But now it's the 3rd week, so I got to do hip hop. So
Gotta.
what's going to be the first hip hop track that I play? And I was torn. I was going back and forth between a couple of artists. Finally decided that this was the one. So today we have State of Emergency by Son of the 215 and Philly's favorite, Freeway.
Awesome. I'm just happy when I know someone.
Well, if you don't know Son of the 215
I
now,
love the name.
you'll know him soon.
Awesome.
Let's get into Matt.
Mozart,
Let me listen.
that's how you feel. EQ, number 22. And yo, state of emergency. Crowd screaming my name, I know you heard of me. Nah, we ain't letting up. Mash out with my posse, make it easy up. Nah, we ain't letting up. Nah, we ain't letting up. Nah, we ain't letting up. About to blitz your fields, you better hunt a walk. Shorty do-wop in the Sunset Park. You ain't really saying much if your funds don't talk. Slapping them bandos, now we live on the charts. Avenger like Tony Starks, you gon' need an iron heart. Stone Island cargoes off white belt. Like the feel on me, that she feel herself. Play it to the bone, pat my homes to the microphone. Headed out Kansas City, chiefin' on the song. Tell these slow rappers I ain't letting up. About to give them penthouse views, better level up. Herschel Walker was a Philly, I was a hothead. Me and Nazis get busy, you better plan ahead. I'm young Kobe, Lower Marion. 33 shots in your drip, you get bagged there. Now tell them boys I go hard. They want the rookie card. They be going off. State of emergency. Crowd screaming my name. I know you heard of me. Nah, we ain't letting up. Mash out with my posse. Make it easy up. Nah, we ain't letting up. Nah, we ain't letting up. Nah, we ain't letting up. That's how you blitz your fields. You better hunt a walk.
In my face, is she giving her the what? Before I hit that stage, gotta settle up. Play with my fellowship, get your fellas touch. Yeah, Starling, FR, keep the metal tuck. He got hit with the beam, cause he ain't good enough. They tried to come for my team, but they ain't good enough. Leave a shirt just like the coach when we wet him up. 60 touchdowns, 6 rings, we ain't letting up. Still murder this track, now I need an uphill. People confused how I'm even up still. Faith in the law, don't be vibing with the devil. If you try to reach my level, that's a climb that is uphill. Son of 215 with the bitter legend. Lift man, not brethren, better get in line. Y'all ain't noticed that Super Bowl flow. We rapping this destiny, y'all people better recognize.
State of emergency. Crowd screaming my name. I know you heard of me.
So that was Son of the 215 and Freeway with State of Emergency.
That was awesome. And of course, Matt and I looked at each other, our producer Matt, because we're both sports geeks, and we heard Pat Mahomes and Herschel Walker being mentioned in there. That's our kind of song.
Bryant.
Of course, Kobe.
Right.
Herschel Walker's more of a cowboy, but it's all
He
right.
played here.
Yeah,
He played here 2 years, sir.
he's still a cowboy.
No, he actually built the Cowboys. If you wanted to, but we digress. Okay, that was awesome.
And if you didn't know, Son of the 215 and Freeway actually have a show together here in Philly this Friday. I'm not going to say where because it's not in Fishtown. But if you need to know, you can, reach out to me on IG and I'll let you know.
They would be wonderful guests for Finding a Fishtown Live, wouldn't they?
They sure
Do
would.
you think they get up at 8 in the morning?
You know what? Son of the 215 would do it for me.
Anybody would do that for you, but that was really great. Dare I say, dope.
Oh, wow.
And with that reference,
Yeah.
it's time for America's favorite game show, What's Mark Wearing?
Oh, hi, Mark. What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
Everybody waits every week after Kay's Corner, like, What is he going to pull out today? And today, this is a new delivery.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Say It Loud, I'm Mark and I'm Proud shirt. So, and also an Eagles fan shirt. So this is back to my sort of Hawaiian shirt theme. It is warm out, but it's also a neon theme. So as you can see, everybody, we do have the Philadelphia Eagles in here, so Matt doesn't get pissed that I wore another team's logo. Eagles! That's how I learned to spell. With very, of course, neon green leaves, and I believe there's some pink in here. And what that tells you is that a bicyclist can use me as a reflector on the back so that nobody hits them. But this is really how you want to. If you're going to represent, you got to commit.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't, there's no point in taking a back seat to it. So, got the black, so you got black jeans with it. Hold on.
Okay.
I keep forgetting that the mic goes. The socks, of course, are Eagles Argyle because I'm nothing if not class. And I got to, of course, I think it's Socrates that sent this, Kay, was got to put Fishtown on your feet. So
definitely Socrates.
This is our custom vans, of course, from Janine Cook and Harriet's Bookshop. Giving a holla out to Janine. These were designed just for her, limited edition. They kind of match.
No, they match. You're good.
Uh-huh. So.
And speaking of Janine, she is still fundraising. So make sure you go to her GoFundMe. She is at, I think, like 125 now.
She is. Just astounding. And
yeah.
Remember, this is to make sure that she has not only has a building in Fishtown that she owns, but it's a cultural center. It's going to be a place where all of the things that she preaches, teaches, educates, helps can be under one roof. Before we go to break, we have a new segment today from the third person of the Shlemiel Shlemazel team in the Fishtown district. We're going to call this, because I haven't had time to name it, something else. Let's get rowdy with Randy. We're talking about the lovely and talented Randy Sherwood. For those that don't know, she was Randy Cohen, the girl that broke my heart in high school, and now I pay her to have her around. So good morning, Randy.
Good morning. How are you guys?
How are you? No, enough about us. How are you? How are things in the fine town of Southampton?
Things are good here. Things are good. I had to make breakfast and lunch for the family.
Of course, yeah.
How I roll.
And what I like about that is that you sometimes squeeze our work in there, too. So thank you. It is much appreciated. Randy, so I guess really before we get into your inspirational quote for the day, I think really what our listeners want to know is back in high school, what in the world were you thinking turning this down?
I don't know. I was a young...
Love Ed. I love Ed to death. But seriously?
Yeah, me too. Love my husband.
No, we got that. By the way, you don't even have to bring that up, Kay, and she'll throw that in. We'll be talking about like Hamas. Love my husband.
Everybody loves him.
Well, I already said I'm going to go with him during the divorce. Not saying that that's happening. But I think one of the reasons we wanted to bring Randy on, besides that she's up at 2:30 in the morning ready for the day, is Randy was a cheerleader back at George Washington High School in 1986 and 87. I believe a captain in 1987. So nobody can inspire, incite, and excite like Randy. So, Randy, what do you got for us today?
Well, I haven't thought about those cheerleading days in a really long time. So while you tried to get me to do cheers,
ready? Okay. Do it.
No.
Come
on.
So
my inspirational quote of the day, and I changed it on you guys because I think this one's way better and I'm not that funny. So
really?
My quote of the day.
We couldn't guess that from the past couple of minutes. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Randy.
Well, I'm no Vicky Stillman.
No one is. No one is.
Yes. Okay. So my quote of the day is, be decisive, right or wrong, make a decision. The road of life is paved with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision.
Oh, I get it, because they were run over from...
that is correct, indecisiveness.
So that means all the PETA people are going to be calling us now. Thank you,
I'm
Randy.
glad you got it, because it took me a minute.
My
college...
I tried to be both inspirational and thoughtful at 8:18 in the morning.
So seriously, if you're wondering who the Hallmark card of the Fishtown district is,
it's definitely Randy.
It's Randy Sherwood. Randy, by the way, I don't know if you know COVID's over. Are you going to leave the house?
No, not anytime soon.
Oh, that's a shame. Randy was the only person that when we were told to be locked at home,
she got excited.
She was as excited as I've ever heard her. I'm with my baby, and she claps. So I'm clapping for everybody on the live stream. With my babies and with my husband. By the way, I love my husband. And we all do.
Randy,
too.
you don't have to take this.
She loves it.
I do. It's all good.
She loves it. And by the way, you did get to talk to Vicky.
True too.
You got to talk to Vicky on Friday, or was it Friday? It was Friday.
It was Friday when we wrote the newsletter, and I got to wish her a happy Mother's Day.
Did it bring back memories?
A little bit. She was nice to me.
Well, she was always nice to you.
I know.
Even though your mom, I think by the way, hello, Shelley, if you're listening, Shelley Cohen still sits there and says, what about how you should have treated me, Randy?
Be nice.
No, I believe she said
nice.
You should have been nicer to him.
Oh, no. She always told me just to be nice. Be nice.
And I think now she actually says, love Ed, got to be honest with you, though. You missed the mark on that one.
Oh, wow.
No, I joke. I love her kids.
Thank you, Matt. I needed that.
Randy, thank you for starting our day off right. I can tell people now have a little kick in their step, a little verve in their heart because they're thinking about not getting run over by a squirrel. So thank you for that. No, they're a squirrel. There you go.
Yep.
This segment was really a winner when I thought it up in my head, but I think it went very well.
Well, it'll get better.
Yes. Ready? Okay. Do it.
No.
Do one.
No.
ROWDI. Yeah. Randy, thanks so much. Get back to work. I'm sure we'll talk to you later. And we're going to take our first break on Finding the Fishtown Live on WWDB 860 AM.
It's been part of Philly for over 10 years, so Rivers Casino Philadelphia knows how you like to play. With better odds, more playtime, an upgraded rewards program, plus a state-of-the-art sports book, great restaurants, and more. Everything that real players want, without the overpriced distractions. Rivers Casino Philadelphia is for those who play to win, not play to pay for some fancy new place. Rivers Casino Philadelphia, always on our game. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Well, John, the stage is set for the final transaction.
That's right, Joe. Heather's moment has arrived, and you just hope all that training pays off.
Heather lays down her purchase, but Randy rings it up as slowly as he can.
He is a wily veteran.
It gives Heather's eyes the chance to wander.
Uh-oh.
Yep, she's looking at the cigarettes.
There's nothing good back there. Quit now, and in 5 years, your odds of getting certain cancers drop 50%.
Meanwhile, Randy's stone-faced. He's giving nothing away. He just stands there, wetting his cashier's finger on that sponge.
Heather toes the rubber.
Here we go. Heather's arm is in motion. But instead of pointing at the back wall, she just grabs the gum off the counter.
That's a slick move.
Heather back. She is out of there. Even Randy tips his cap to Heather. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally wants you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
And we are back.
I was almost ready there.
So I got to be honest, it took me like a good 20 seconds to understand what that last commercial was actually about because I just got so wrapped into the sports play. I was like, oh, we're watching a game. No, we are fighting cancer.
And yes, good job with that, Kay. We always are. But I think we kept our guest waiting long enough in the Finding the Fishtown Live waiting green room where he only gets the best in accoutrements and drinks and treats. Again, Finding the Fishtown Live here on WWDB 860 AM. We are lucky and privileged to have Brandon Leake with us today. Brandon is a well-acclaimed spoken word poet, educator, motivational speaker. Besides, most everybody, I think, has seen him winning the 15th season of America's Got Talent, like Matt. I'm also going to go through, just to give a little bit of all. You're going to feel like a slacker, okay, when you hear all that Brandon does. He's performed in 36 United States, New Zealand, Mexico, and Canada with his Dark Side tour to promote his published poetry and his album called Deficiencies, A Tale from My Dark Side. He also teaches at Brookside School Daycare Center, where he worked with his wife. He's also the founder and CEO of Call to Move, an organization that helps youth through poetry. He founded the organization in 2012 at Simpson University. He's also an academic advisor at San Joaquin Delta College. There is just more and more and more here.
And he's under the age of 40. Like, oh my gosh.
Yes. But he is performing tonight at, of course, in the Mecca of entertainment and comedy, the Punchline Philly in Fishtown. If you don't have tickets, get them. They're going fast at punchlinephilly.com. And certainly if you have any questions for Brandon as he gets started, the toll-free number is 888-329-3306. That's 888-329-3306. Without further ado, thanks for his patience. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning. And I'm trying to remember the exact phrase that you were trying to get the other lady to do. Is it like "hurrah" or something like that?
There was a cheer in high school. We were like a public school, Brandon, so we weren't that clever. It was ready, okay. Then it was a rowdy cheer, except you spelled it ROWDIE. That's the way you spell rowdy, and that's why we never won. That's why we never won.
See, I went to cheap public school too, so I completely get what you mean.
See, you can sympathize, but Brandon, what a journey you have had, and I guess the first question is, how did you develop this passion for what you do?
Well, in middle school, girls started looking cute, and I didn't really have the ability to sing, so writing was my way to like convey those more gentle emotions.
Amen to that.
And but I would say honestly, like my biggest push was during college. I was playing Division II college basketball in California, and I at the loss of my best friend back in my hometown of Stockton, I just needed a way to be able to express myself, and poetry was my vessel.
And at what point did you think, like, this could be my profession, that I could actually make a life doing this?
A poet named Micah Bornay came to my college, and when I would talk to him, he was like, yeah, man, like I travel around the world, I make a living doing this. And that was the first time I ever had any inkling that it could be a career. And then in 2016, when I had traveled for my first ever real tour, when I think I had done like maybe like 12 cities, I was like, oh, I might be fairly good at this. Then I went to like a poetry competition and took like 20th, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not good enough. So like I put a lot more work into it. And then, yeah, here we are now.
So before, and of course we're going to get to, I'm sure everybody asks you about America's Got Talent. But tell us a little bit about, if we're going to go see you tonight at the Punchline, what can people expect? Because it's really a different kind of show that anybody really would go see there. This is not knock jokes or, I just got into town type of thing. This is a lot more meaningful.
Yeah, I would say come for an entertaining night. Like, I think a lot of people have this idea that poetry or spoken word has to always be these very deep, esoteric pieces, and that's not going to be the full night. Like, the beauty between spoken word and comedy are that they're very similar, where we both build tension only using words. Comedians have to make you laugh, but I get the chance to make you laugh, cry, get pissed off, I'll give you all of those emotions within the course of an hour that you'll be listening to me. So it'll be like a whole movie. You watch a movie with one person standing in front of you the whole time.
So that's quite a show. I'm very excited to see it. But so how do you prepare for that as an artist? Like, do you have a pre-show routine that, you do in the green room before you go on stage? How do you get yourself in that mental space?
I have a pre-show prayer I consistently do, and then drinking lots of water so that way I make my wife happy.
That's important.
And then I'm getting better at this because since my vocal cords are my instrument, I try to do vocal rest now, which I've never done in my life. And I'm trying to treat my instrument better. But I would probably say that my biggest routine is eating red vines right before I hit stage.
Really? Why red vines? Is that just like your favorite candy as a kid, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I forget I'm East Coast. Are y'all Twizzler people out
Yeah.
here?
We're Twizzler folks. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I'm like red vines out of nowhere. Like, ugh.
Every so often, Brandon, you'll see a red vine at like a Regal movie theater, and my son will look at me bewildered. What is that? So I have to say, it's the Twizzlers equivalent.
I'm a West Coast kid, so red vines are always better than Twizzlers on the West Coast.
See, we learn something new every day.
Yeah, told you, it's infotainment. Brandon, what inspires you? Like, what gets you to where you feel like, okay, I'm going to talk about this on stage tonight?
Life experience, honestly, like taking the high moments, taking the low moments, and then just I use my writing as a time to be able to, kind of discern information and figure out how I feel about stuff. Like it's a real therapeutic time for me. And then the way I determine what to put on stage is whether or not the poem's actually good or not. Because I write a lot of stuff that's not good, which I think is oftentimes what people mistake. They think that everything that you write has to be great, when that's not the reality. Comedians write horrible jokes and you just never see them on their special. Poets write, or rappers write horrible songs and they never end up on the album unless, never mind.
That's real. That's definitely real.
So I have a ton of poems that the world has never heard and they never will hear unless you're become one of my good friends, and then I share my really crappy poems when we're bowling at the bowling alley back at home.
And as you're getting ready to actually say, okay, this is going to make it, will there be times where you'll just sort of wing it, freestyle it, or is this prep, and more prep?
Well, it all depends on where you find me. So, for instance, at a prestigious place like Punchline Philly, you're going to get the poems are all going to be well rehearsed, but the in-between, the banter where I get the chance to talk to the audience, ask them questions, let them ask me stuff back, that stuff will be completely organic. But if you catch me at a smaller venue show, for instance, back at home, I go to a lot of open mics to test out material. I'll freestyle for 5 or 6 minutes, not rapping because I'm trash at rapping, but I'll freestyle poetry for 5 or 6 minutes just for the practice.
That's very interesting. When you're performing, what is it about performing itself that you really enjoy?
Oh man, we're on the radio, so I get to look like a donkey.
You got to explain that one.
And so, as a high school kid, I think all of us kind of go through it to an extent. We put these cool jackets on so that way people think that we're, that we're cool or whatever.
You had a starter jacket, didn't you?
By the world. So we don't allow for ourselves to fully branch out and embrace all of who we are. When I started finally doing performance poetry, I had to let that cool jacket off so I can finally just embrace hey, you're gonna look foolish up here sometimes. Embrace it. And so the performance lets me not only look foolish at times, but also allows for me to be able to fully embody the emotional experience that I had when I wrote it, which isn't always super pleasant, but is also really healing for myself and the people who hear it.
I was gonna say, is that something that was difficult for you at first? Because my friends who are artists and perform, one of the things that they talk about is not putting too much personal stuff in their songs so that they don't have to perform it over and over and over again. And for you, you're talking about things that are sometimes very deeply personal. So is that something you struggle with?
I think it's the opposite for me. I love getting personal. I love making it feel intimate because I have people from ranging ages, socioeconomics, races, genders, religions, who all can relate to my experience because I decided to be personal. and it's and that's what I enjoy, is building a bridge between myself and another person. Like, if I do that, then it's a job well done on stage.
And I feel like that's a great segue into talking about your nonprofit. So tell us a little bit about your nonprofit and what you do through that.
Yeah, so Called to Move was started back in 2012 when I went to Simpson University. And it was really just after I quit playing basketball, I needed something to do. And I prayed about it, and I was like, hey, I like to write, so let's get a bunch of artists together so that way we can write together. And it was really just a group of weirdos on campus who had no real place to go to share their talents. And we would just show up and do these open mics. And what that ended up transitioning into, it was when I moved back home to Stockton, I started doing poetry workshops in schools. And we've been running workshops since 2017, and we published over 750 youth in my city.
Wow. That's very impressive.
First to 8th grade. So, yeah, Called to Move is a nonprofit that helps students learn to find fun in writing.
That's great. And do you find that, these kids who are experiencing writing and maybe experiencing processing their emotions for the first time, like, I know that these kids are getting more out of it than just the creative writing skills?
Yeah, I think what they're learning too is that writing, because half the time we write when we're young, it's only ever graded. And that doesn't make writing fun, knowing that you're going to constantly be assessed by it. Like, that's why kids hate math, because, like, there's no fun application to it where they're not being graded for it outside of making money. So I think that they're learning the process of learning themselves, and they're finding fun in being able to learn about themselves on paper.
Definitely. And I think it is time. We're going to take a very short break, but hopefully you can stay with us. And when we come back, we'll talk even more about what you have going on.
Definitely.
We'll be right back.
It's been part of Philly for over 10 years, so Rivers Casino Philadelphia knows how you like to play. With better odds, more playtime, an upgraded rewards program, plus a state-of-the-art sports book, great restaurants, and more. Everything that real players want, without the overpriced distractions. Rivers Casino Philadelphia is for those who play to win, not play to pay for some fancy new place. Rivers Casino Philadelphia, always on our game. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Many business owners and entrepreneurs today are drowning in unsecured debt and just can't stop incurring more. Business Debtors Anonymous is a 12-step recovery program where you will receive support for doing business and living life without incurring new unsecured debt. Business Debtors Anonymous offers meetings every day where members support one another to help them stop incurring new unsecured debt. You're not alone. Visit helpfordebtors.org. That's helpfordebtors.org.
Hi, I'm Cody DePablo. Cancer, we don't want to think about it, but I had to because, well, I was busy, working, traveling, enjoying life. Completely forgot to pay attention to my health. Too much time passed since my last PAP. By the time I was tested, things didn't look too good. We thought I might have cervical cancer. Cervical, ovarian, and uterine cancers are gynecologic cancers. I was lucky. After lots of worries, no cancer. I've always been very close to my mother. When we finally got good results, she broke down. And that's when I realized it's not just about me. It's about your loved ones too. So women, get a Pap test to check for cervical cancer and get the inside knowledge about gynecologic cancers.
A message from the Inside Knowledge Campaign and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. For more information, call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
Welcome back, everybody, to the best hour in radio. I would even say TV if we were actually on a regular station. Of course, we're on the fabulous WWDB 860 AM with Find It in Fishtown Live. And we are being joined by spoken word performer, poet, entertainer, philanthropist, all-around great guy, Brandon Leake. He's got many, many hats. He wears them well. Brandon, thanks for your time today. We got to talk about America's Got Talent. Tell us how that came to be that you got on it, and what was the experience like for you?
Yeah, so in 2017, I remember seeing an ad for it on Facebook. I looked at my wife and I said, "Hey, I want to go try out." She was like, "Do it." I went and tried out and didn't make the show. And the way I found out I didn't make the show was that I saw commercials for the show.
Oh, God.
They didn't even call you.
Yeah.
And then I took a break just to focus on my first year of marriage. And after our first year, I was like, hey, I want to try to do poetry professionally again. And that's when I did my Dark Side tour, traveling around the world for the first time. And on the back end of that tour, my wife got pregnant. And I was like, cool, well, got to find a regular job because this poetry thing does not come with health benefits. So after teaching for a little bit, I got back and another ad popped up on Facebook for America's Got Talent. And I said, hey, I tried it 2 years ago. Let's try it again. So I went out and I auditioned. And this time I was fortunate enough to be able to make it. So that's kind of the journey to get there.
And so now you're going on the first time, and I know you won the prestigious, I believe it is the Golden Buzzer Award from Howie.
Yeah.
Tell us about, you go on, because this has to be the biggest performances of your life, you know, certainly with audience and so forth. What did you go through in picking your material?
Yeah, so I knew that I had a particular time frame that I had to stick under. I had 90 seconds. So I had a poem that was around like 6 minutes long, but I knew a third of it I really loved. So I took that 2-minute portion, chopped it down to 90 seconds, and then I took it to every open mic within an hour radius, north, east, west, and south of me, and just practiced it. And then when it came to the week that I was getting ready to go audition for where I got the Golden Buzzer, that's when COVID finally started really taking over Italy, and it started really hitting. And I got a phone call because I was supposed to go out there on a Monday, and they're like, hey, you have to be here tomorrow, Saturday, in order to audition. There's going to be no audience because of COVID fears and trying to ensure that we're remaining healthy. And yeah, so I drive out to LA. My car dies on there's this thing called the Grapevine. It's like this huge mountain range just north of LA. My car dies on an uphill on the Grapevine at like 2 a.m. And
This is a great omen so far, ain't it, Brandon?
You know, and I don't get there till like 4 a.m. with the 8 a.m. call time. But historically, when I have moments like this are usually when I find my greatest successes, which is also what ended up happening there.
Wow.
Do you remember that 90-second poem?
Yeah, it was the one that you all saw, my Golden Buzzer one from my sister.
So, and having done that, how did, you know, it's so funny. I was watching a show about comedians going on the Tonight Show and how it made them, and that feeling of, I'll just say, pure fear before they go, and then they feel like afterwards they just jumped out of an airplane successfully. Did you feel that your life had changed after that first performance?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, I knew that my life had changed. But also, it's one of those strange things where you can't tell nobody because it doesn't air for months.
Oh, that's right.
So like, because there's like the pre-recorded portion of the show, and then there's the actual like live portion of the show. So the pre-recorded stuff, which was only one episode for me, that Golden Buzzer episode, I had to wait from like March till July to actually share that with anybody besides my friends and family.
Wow.
So
that must have been a hard secret to keep.
I had to go back to like my regular day job the next day. And people were like, hey man, so like how'd that whole AGT thing go? I'm like, I don't know yet. We'll find out.
I know you had to tell your wife though, right?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
My mom, mom, my uncle, my little brother. Those were all the first people I called. And then my child was only 14 days old when I went out there.
Wow. That
So,
you want to talk about a life-changing couple weeks.
Yeah. And so as soon as I was done, I was having this like massive adrenaline high. So I hopped straight in my car, prayed that it would actually get me back home because it died on the way up there, drove back. And then because from Stockton to LA is about like 5.5 hours, about halfway through the adrenaline died off and I like fell asleep on the side of the highway.
Wow.
So Brandon, so now you get through the process. At some point, did it dawn on you like, man, I can win this thing?
Yeah. So when I did my poem Pookie, I did not think I was going to move on to the next round.
I love the name, by the way.
Thank you. When I did that poem, I did not think I was going to move on just because like of how politically divided the world was and still is about like racial issues. And I knew the poem itself wasn't like, it's not the most race tackling poem that I have, but I knew that it tackles the issue in a very tactful way. I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll get certain people who will enjoy this. And then there'll be another select few people who will say, nah, we're good. And as soon as I moved on from that poem, I was like, oh snap, like I could actually win. And that was kind of the first moment I thought I would win. But I honestly, even when I was in the top 10, I didn't think I was going to win. I thought that Christina Ray was going to win, that I was going to take third.
Well, I want you to know that our producer, Matt, he was so amped that you were going to be on the show. He's a avid watcher, and Matt doesn't talk a lot unless it's about sports, Brandon. But he came in this morning gushing. What's
no.
up?
No, I watched every episode.
And what did you say about his performance?
It's amazing. He can make, or you're right here. You can make driving through a McDonald's drive-through sound beautiful. So I've never been a huge fan of spoken word or poetry, but you just grabbed on to everybody with every word you said, and I was so happy when I saw that you won.
Yo, if you make it to the show tonight, I got a free shirt for you, man.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
I will try to do my best if the kids let me.
I should say he's got daddy duties, Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me.
My daughter's having a baby today in Texas.
Oh, Congratulations.
Congrats.
And yet he's so dedicated. He's here with us.
Sports, man. I know this is his hometown outside of Italy, but like I grew up a historic Laker fan due to Kobe.
There you go.
Yes.
We all love Kobe. Even when he was taking the title away from us in 2001.
Kobe.
You know, as I remind myself,
we hated him 1 year when he got when he won MVP All-Star here in Philly.
Yes. You know, it's funny because when he was playing, like I think he even said, you know, I'm here to tear your hearts out. We didn't love him so much then, but you don't get to watch greatness too much. So it's awesome to see. But so, Brandon, so you win. Tell us about that moment.
Oh, man. Y'all want the real honest emotions of winning?
Yes. Absolutely.
So, like, the honest emotions of winning were, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought winning would, like define, like, oh, man, like, this is, like, this career-defining moment. Like, I finally, like, reached this apex that, like, I would feel super thrilled and, like, finally feel fulfilled. And it didn't feel that way. Like, winning felt awesome. Like, I sincerely shed tears. I was super joyous, like, the whole night, even the next day. But, like, the day afterwards, I was like, man, like, I feel like this isn't exactly what I had envisioned. And it was because winning wasn't what defined my love for my art. My art was what defined my love for it. And winning was just an extension of the love that I had for it already. And
no, go ahead.
Really helped me, like, continue to be who I am today.
Well, it's certainly, and I think that's such a great sentiment for everybody to know that it's, you know, your passion is what should fill you up and fulfill you. But I'd have to imagine since then that certainly your audiences have changed, grown, expanded, and that's got to be fulfilling for you as an artist.
I had like 3,000 Instagram followers when I started America's Got Talent. I'm like almost at 60,000, and I'm sure I'll probably get there after being on this radio show with y'all because you guys have a massive audience.
He's my new favorite guest.
Well known.
And then,
Fishtown.
but then I think even more than that, though, I think the audience I picked up were people who were genuinely not just interested in my art, but also interested in me as a person. Because like I'm not like, I'm 29 and I hate using social media, but I do it because I know I have to. And I think my audience buys into what I post and buys into what I share because they're like, oh, this is actually who he is. Like, he's not putting up a front to be somebody else. He's just branded.
That's great. Before, and the time is going so quickly, and I hate asking, so, because this is your art, this is your work. Is there something you can share for our audience, a poem or something you're working on that, that you're not going to spring on us tonight that you can share?
Yeah. Man, I want to do a happy poem because I have a poem about Kobe, but it's not really a happy one.
We're going to defer to you.
What kind of poem would y'all like to hear?
I like happy. Though Kobe, I'll be honest, listen, Matt and I are comfortable enough that we'll shed a tear. So it's okay.
Okay, so
let's go Kobe.
So here we go. I know it may be weird to write a goodbye letter to a man you've never met, but who cares? Dear Kobe, you were more than a basketball player to me. You were the idol of my drive, looked at how talent never failed to meet hard work in your presence, overachieved in the face of opposition without a word of complaint, took that Mamba mentality from my time on the court to my time with the pad and seeing your transition from hooper to dad. That's what broke me when you left. Imagining the seconds passing by must have felt like an eternity, holding your daughter in your arms, knowing there was nothing that you could do. And I know you. You study film to the T, know how to respond to everything the defense gives you. So I'm sure your instincts kicked in when things weren't going according to plan. You assessed the situation, looked out the window, because it's never about the first defender, and that helicopter was the first defender. You see, I know that you looked at that second one, the ground, the one that you stare at, the one that you try to look off in hopes to manipulate it to respond to your move, but that third defender is its most treacherous. And I know that's the one in which you froze for the first time in your life. I know that one was Gigi. Staring into her eyes, fear and instinct melted away, knowing that this was a moment that you two could share and would share for the rest of your lives. I couldn't imagine looking into my daughter's eyes. The prayers that I would send up. And I know that God is more clutch than I'll ever be. And I know you knew that too. And how every prayer gets answered, just not always how we expect. Kobe, I hope you know that I've learned so much from you. Every single opportunity that you had on that court, you gave it your all. And the same thing with your life. And I pray that I could be half as brave as you were from now until the day that I join you.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
And I can only tell you, Brandon, when I talked about Kobe, when I said to my son, you have to appreciate watching greatness. And we'll appreciate listening to greatness, that you have a gift to convey and to make people feel and think. And that is awesome. We're very rarely speechless here, but.
And I know that we're running a little low on time. So before we get out of here, please let all of our audience, the wonderful thousands of listeners that are going to become your Instagram followers, let them know where they can find you and how they can get tickets for the show tonight.
Punchline Philly. We still have a few tickets left, y'all. So make sure that you go to punchlinephilly.com and click my wonderful face, Brandon Leake, so you can come to the show tonight. I have two phenomenal openers, and Mike Phillips, who's a Philly native, and my boy Black Chakra. He does not rep the DMV because he says Baltimore is a completely different thing, whatever that means.
It is. It's true.
And yeah, if you want to if you want to follow me, then please follow me at Brandon_Leake_CTM on Instagram. And the link for the tickets are also in my bio there.
Awesome. And thank you so much for being with us today. Mark, any final words for Brandon before we let him go?
It's quite simply, thank you, and please come back to Philly a lot. And I know we're going to keep following you, keeping up what you're doing. You truly have a gift.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us today.
Have a great day.
You too, Brandon, and thanks everybody. We have about a minute left, Kay. I feel like it would be wrong for us to try to talk and be clever now.
I agree.
After all that, but what a guest. Please go see him tonight at the fabulous Punchline Philly, punchlinephilly.com. There are some tickets remaining.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave you with this. It's what's wonderful about Fishtown is it is truly a place for the arts.
Absolutely.
And it's nice that places like Punchline just expand people's horizons of who they can see and who they can listen to. Think about it today, Kay. We had, was it Sons of 215? Did I get that right?
Son of the 215.
Sons of the 215 and Freeway. You got, a great hip-hop collab. You got a great spoken word collab. And then you got me wearing loud clothing. So I think with that,
you're
screams welcome.
Fishtown.
You're welcome, America. Please remember to find it in Fishtown. And as always, Kay, thanks for all you do. Can't wait to take a walk with you to Kay's Corner next week. And I'm sure I'll have another mom story for everybody as I prepare for more therapy sessions.
We can only hope.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for listening to Find It in Fishtown Live here on WWDB 860 AM. Matt, good luck with your new grandchild.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great day, everybody.